So before we listen to part two of our interview with Jessica Gibbs, we have some really exciting news to share. Jess did have her baby. It's a boy, Samuel, 8 pounds, 13 ounces, and everyone is doing well. Congratulations to this new party of 5.
Hey everybody, and welcome to I Got This with LEX and MGP. I'm Lex and I've been a personal trainer over the last 5 years. Martha has been my client for 3 years, and over that time she has lost over 50 pounds and changed her entire perspective on life. Join us each week as we dive into health, mindset, and everything in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to I Got This pod with Lex and MGP. Today my name is Jessica Gibbs, and we were so excited to have her on talking about exercising throughout pregnancy, mentality, and so important, body image. Check it out and let us know what you think throughout this episode. Some of the other things with being pregnant, you have to definitely work with the trainer, and I love that you're certified in working with mommies. So anybody out there who wants to join some of Jess's mommy class. What do you call them?
It's mom and baby classes. So in the winter time, it's called Fit and Play.
Okay.
And so it's inside at Nature's Playhouse in Ferndale. And the kids get to run around and play while we're working out and it's mostly body weight. But we do have like some hand weight stuff, but it's still, the kids get to socialize and the moms get to do something besides just stand and look at them at a park or just stand and look at them at a play structure. It's, doing something for your self-care as well as giving that socialization. And then in summertime, it shifts to a stroller fitness class. So we're outside with the kids in the strollers. We have bubbles, we have songs. Then we use mostly resistance bands and body weight. So
love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool. I like that. So, I love having your expertise. There's a lot of different things with pregnancy. No woman is the same. But knowing, when you can and cannot lay on your back, when that kind of comes into play, obviously certain movements start to get harder. And then eventually postpartum, kind of if you are doing labor, not a C-section, just like, what would be the term for that? Just regular.
There's two schools of thought. Some people will call it a natural delivery. But sometimes that has been, there's kind of been a push recently where that can feel maybe a little derogatory towards people who have had a C-section.
Your diastasis with your C-section is so different, and that's harder.
And they've cut through your entire abdominal wall and then have to stitch it back together. So the recovery for a C-section for the core, it just has to take longer because they have literally separated all of your abdomen. And it does make a huge difference.
I do appreciate that phrasing though, Jess, because I had 2 C-sections.
Yes.
And that wasn't my choice. It was an emergency C-section.
It was just, and that's, you can't help it, sometimes. And so it's, that's one of my goals that also ties back into why I ended up continuing to work out with Henry. And then again with Elizabeth, and again with this one, was one of my goals in my delivery was to have it be unmedicated, and be able to do no epidural, no pain medication, and just, have a vaginal unmedicated birth. And a lot of people will say like, oh, you wanted a natural birth. And I'm like, no. All births, all babies come in. It's, these are my specific goals were to have this and this. Obviously main goal is healthy mom, healthy baby, right?
Sure.
Like by any means necessary, like whatever has to happen for that. But if those two things could happen, I wanted them to happen. And I do feel like the working out helped be able to achieve that with my first 2, and fingers crossed will be good for a third, and we'll see. But
I love that. But it's great education, especially for me. This is not a world
you're not in this world yet.
No, just not, So it's good. It's really good knowledge to learn. Definitely, I know like exercises, protocols in certain ways, but
I wish I had known that at the time. Yeah. I did treat myself as a delicate flower during that time.
I like that.
And there is something to be said, like when you're pregnant, like, yeah, sometimes you get to splurge and like, yeah, you're growing a human. Like it's okay to like, indulge in some fun things, or, if you have a craving, like get the pickles if you want them, like go get the pickles.
It was mac and cheese for me, but whatever.
I don't even like it now.
Yeah. Grilled cheese with Henry. I really like grilled cheese with Henry.
Maybe cheese is a boy thing because it was my boy that I wanted mac and cheese.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I didn't have cravings, but I had an aversion to shredded chicken.
Oh, same.
Chopped chicken would be fine. Full chicken breast that I cut up myself fine. If it was shredded, couldn't eat it.
Weird.
No, chicken with a bone in it. That just grossed me out when I was pregnant.
Weird. How
my sister couldn't be around raw meat with her twins' pregnancy. Like if she saw the raw meat, she couldn't eat it. She was like, I can't do it.
Wow.
That's so it is weird. It's a bizarre thing that happens.
It is. And it's so different for everyone. And like you said, Martha, for, you sharing that you had, emergency C-sections, with both, there are aspects in delivery that no matter how much, like even if you had been working out all the way through, there are things that can happen, complications that just are unforeseen. Some people just don't dilate all the way to 10, or their pelvis is not shaped the way that, that is best for the baby to come out. And so, those things happen. But even if those do happen for you, if you have been working out, the recovery is easier.
Yes.
And so I think that's one of the big takeaways, is that even if you're not like hoping for a vaginal delivery, or if something goes like, I don't want to say wrong, but if something happens where a vaginal delivery isn't possible, having that consistency of like focusing on your health and taking care of your body and keeping that strength still aids in that recovery to be easier.
Exactly. And while we're on that topic, I do want to go over the benefits of exercising while pregnant, and then something that I would also recommend. So obviously during exercise, it can boost your mood and energy, just like normal energy, help you sleep better, all the normal things that exercise definitely does do, prevent excess weight gain. Now, very important though, it can lower your risk of gestational diabetes, which a lot of people tend to have, right? So it can shorten your labor, and it can definitely reduce that risk of having to have a C-section. Again, that is something that also can be not in your control 100%, but it can lower those chances. Now, getting the okay to exercise, number one, is very important. You're not just going to go right into it and continue. I would always recommend having your doctor's appointment first and then speaking to your doctor. I will not normally never train a client until they get a doctor okay to exercise. Number two, nutrition with pregnancy, very important. As a trainer, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm never going to recommend nutrition plans for pregnant women. That is, again, something that you should talk to your doctor about, just for those listening. And then finally, very important. So a lot of women, and this is an amazing, especially with women in their 20s and early 30s, they know that exercise during pregnancy is so important. So even if they haven't been exercising, they'll say, hey, okay, I'm pregnant now, I'm going to start exercising. I would not recommend that, because your body's not used to it. You can move, you want to start walking, you do want to be active, but you can't start strength training intensely if you haven't done it previously while being pregnant. If you know that you want to work out while you're pregnant and you're not pregnant yet, or you're hoping to become pregnant, I would start as soon as possible, because you cannot start once your pregnancy begins. Technically you can, but I would not recommend pushing intensely after having not worked out for months or years.
No, the way that I have always thought about it is that if you haven't been working out before pregnancy and then you get pregnant and you want to start it, like, just like if you are not pregnant and you haven't been working out and you want to start, you have to start slow, right?
Exactly.
But if you're pregnant, you have to cut that like in half of how quickly you'd be, quote unquote, making progress, but your body's also changing so much. So absolutely, you can begin a workout routine, but you have to be aware that it's not going to be jumping in. Like if you're not pregnant, where, in 6 weeks, you maybe are at like, a more intense level. At 6 weeks, you're going to be like, okay, like I'm able to do more, but it's still, it's not going to be the same. You have to think about it on like a more delayed schedule, because you are growing a human. Like,
exactly.
You just are.
When you think about it, what's going on?
It is. There's a whole human in me. And Alexa said during
cyber miracle.
It's amazing. Yeah, the whole thing.
And then and that's something else to consider, especially like coming from, like, I have had women who, have worked out their entire life and stopped for 2 years due to certain, like maybe COVID or something like that, saying, hey, I want to get right back into it, so I'm ready for this pregnancy. Like, you are starting from a different place. And I love that you said that. And that's so important to remember. You are starting from a different place with a different person inside of you, right?
And if you have someone who worked out really like consistently and then they got pregnant and maybe didn't continue working out, and then they're 6 weeks postpartum and they're like, okay, I'm ready to jump back in. Okay, well, you just had a baby and your body is not the same after having a baby. No matter how much you think it will end up the same, your hips are wider, you got a whole bunch of stuff going on that you have to learn your new body and how it's going to function in those big moves. And
I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that, because it is so true. That is a very common thing. Women come in and they do get frustrated after that pregnancy, very like emotionally, just upset, because they're like, well, I could once do this and now I can't. You had a literal human inside of you and then pushed it or got it
came out of you.
Exactly. And so it's an emotional thing that you have to kind of, I'm not saying it's easy, but kind of respect yourself, give yourself credit for what you've gone through. It's not like, oh, you just got sick and, you're slowly kind of rebuilding. No, you went through a year basically of trauma to your body. I don't want to say trauma, but it is a very impactful change. You're not going to be the same.
Yeah. I mean, there's relaxin flowing through your body. So all of your ligaments are looser. So that's another thing that you have to take into consideration, when you're working out, where you're like, ooh, like I'm more flexible now. It's like, just because you feel more flexible doesn't mean you should.
I love it.
Because you can doesn't mean you should.
Rock on.
Well, and I think a lot of women too, they struggle with body image at this point, coming off pregnancy. Even if you're fine during pregnancy, you expect, the belly and all that. But you see, on TV, in the movies, they go and have a baby and then they wear their jeans out of the hospital. That's not real.
It's not.
No,
you said that.
It's not real. Pregnant when you leave the hospital. Like
you might look 8.5 months pregnant instead of 9 months pregnant when you leave the hospital. But it's really what? It doesn't deflate that fast.
I know. And I love that you're saying that. Go ahead.
And it's important though, like Martha's saying, that there's that pressure for, I feel like you hear the term of like, I want to get my body back. Well, you never lost your body. Your body went through something amazing. It created a human, and now you're a mom. And we can have love and respect for that body. And what you want to do is you want to get yourself to a place where you're confident, you're strong, and you're proud of who you are. Exactly. And what you can do. Like, it's not about being in your jeans that you fit into when you were in your 20s in college, because your body is going to be shaped different, but you want to make sure that you're to a place where you're healthy and you're confident and comfortable.
And it took 9 months to get there too.
Yes.
I mean, you're not gonna 3 days later out of the hospital. I mean, it's just not realistic. So you have to be patient. And if you are nursing, it's even a whole different journey with that too.
Oh yeah. I mean, that adds a whole nother ball game of hydration and calories and milk supply and all of that, that's a fun, I mean, I could talk for days on that one, on the differences between Henry and Elizabeth, just the knowledge that I gained between them. But I mean, there's so many aspects to it.
Besides what you said, I do want to highlight, and I just truly loved it. Body image, going back to that, just staying on that topic, just like you said, your body is going to be different. You're not going to get your body, whatever that is, back. It's about finding love and respect and love for the ability of what you just went through and what your body is able to do. And I really want to emphasize that, because a lot of women will show me pictures of themselves in their 20s. And that is cool to be proud of, because like having a rocking body in your 20s is awesome. We all love that, because guess what? We all got rocking bodies in our 20s. And I know I'm in my 20s and I'm fully aware it's not going to be the same in 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
And it's without having kids.
Yes, without having kids and being in like this prime age, just like when you were in your 20s and you looked back when you were 18, you were a teenager, right? Yeah, this rocking body. So I think like, embodying that I am a woman, I am a mother, and I am so confident in the work that I have done for myself and to take care of these other humans, which is an amazing thing. So I really appreciate your view on that. And I know it's not an easy thing to embody, but it's something that we definitely need to, as a community, kind of bring to the forefront that it's okay to be sad and like miss that sense of self that you had, but embodying this new woman and this new journey is a wonderful, wonderful and amazing thing.
And finding the empowerment in what you were able to do, and then finding the grace and the beauty and the love for yourself. And again, if that means that you would like to lose a little bit of weight and gain some more muscle, like that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But don't hold yourself to a standard of something when your body has been through a complete transformation. Like it's not feasible.
Exactly. You are going to find new goals. You are going to find a new woman, a new mindset, and a new woman that you're going to be reaching towards, looking back at the woman you once were in your 20s again, or teens it's not feasible. Let's find a new standard of, damn, this new empowering woman. Sorry for swearing. I know Henry's behind you.
Nope, he's doing flashcards in the other room, and he's heard way worse. I think about that. In a car with me while driving. I get that. He's heard enough.
Yeah, good. My kids learned all their swear words in the car. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it's pretty funny. There's been times where I've been driving and like someone will cut us off, and before I can say anything, I hear Henry, "Oh, come on," from the back. I'm like, oh no, like, I gotta watch what I'm saying. Like at least
he's gonna be great at 15.
Yeah, it's so good.
Problem.
That's awesome. Well, Jess, this has been like such an amazing conversation. We do have 2 questions.
Go for it.
That we want to follow up. Is there any question that you wish we would have asked, or that something that you want women in a similar position to know?
I would say just something in general that like a lot of my friends or like moms that I have taught in classes that they always ask me is, how do you find the time once the kids are here to continue working out? Like how do you find the time? And the reality is that I make it a priority. Like I know that it is, I mean, and going again, jumping way back to, why did I continue working out through the pregnancies? Another aspect is for me, with my own stress and anxieties and, mental health aspect, I know that taking care of my body and feeling strong and feeling healthy is something that helps me feel more at peace. I have more patience. I have more just in general feeling of sense of self, where I just feel accomplished and I know it helps me. And so I knew that going into motherhood with all of the changes and all of the hormones and all of that I needed to continue to put self-care as a priority for me, and working out was something that was there. And that sometimes means, Henry's running laps around me as I'm, trying to do my lunges. And sometimes, I go to step back for the lunge and he's right there and I can't do it. And that's okay. I'm not going to get the same workout when the kids are running around, but I still know that I'm getting movement in and I'm still doing something for my body. And so I think that's something, when I've had that question asked, it's like, well, I schedule it and I make the time, I make it a priority. And I also try to be very flexible in forgiveness of myself of what that workout will look like. Because with kids running around, like if you're doing a virtual workout at home, it's not going to be the same as if you're like in the gym without your kids, but that doesn't mean it's not helping. And I think that is something that is, just really important. I think for new moms or moms that have multiple kids at home that want to start a fitness journey, like do 20 lunges in your living room, do 20 squats. Every time you go to the bathroom, do 10
Hop on a virtual class.
Do a virtual class and let your kids run around and be an example. Henry sees me working out every day. And when he asks me why, I say it's because mommy wants to be strong so I can keep up with you. Yeah. That's not about body image. It's not about, losing weight. It's about me wanting to be strong and taking care of my body. And it's a great example for your kids.
Everyone talks about balance too. And I kind of actually almost disagree, because it's hard to have balance when you have young ones like that. It's constant chaos. I know. but if you can find some sort of peace in the chaos to do that. So that's really impressive, Jess, that you give that priority.
Is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and I do think, you setting that example for your children at such a young age. I've always credited my mother to that, like as to why I'm a personal trainer, because she always taught me that. And I think that is one of the highest standards of, if you can find it deep down, yes, this is for me, but if you need another layer, hey, it's also for them. You're teaching them this healthy lifestyle so young. They're watching their mother make the hard decision and make the time to take care of themselves. And that's such an amazing thing as well.
And they're just going to normalize it then too.
Yeah.
What we do.
Yeah.
And I love, like, specifically, I mean, obviously I want to embody for Elizabeth, like being a strong, confident woman, but for Henry, I also want him to really like respect and like seek out strong, confident women and friends and people, like, I feel like there's also that aspect of just teaching them that aspect too, which is.
I agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I actually have a son and a daughter, so it's almost, my philosophy is almost exactly the same. I'll warn you, when you raise a spirited daughter, that can be fun sometimes, but it's also, be good.
I have one. She is spirited and she is opinionated and she is spunky, but I don't want to say
be good.
I mean, she's gonna be a leader somewhere. She's gonna do something amazing.
Yep, exactly.
Rock on. I love it.
So we have one last question for you, Jess.
Okay.
Our shows, I got this, right? So what does an I got this mentality mean to you?
Ooh.
Take a minute to think on that. And the one thing I got to say, Jess, you have listened to, I think, every one of our episodes. And I think of our first guest. I was like, it has to be Jess. Truly, because even after every episode, you've given me an excerpt or something that you took with it, something that you would have added. And we're so grateful for like you being part of that community to us. So thank you. So I feel like if somebody were to know the I got this mentality, we truly do believe it would be you. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will say, for anyone who hasn't listened to all of the podcasts, go back and listen. I feel like they are, even if you think the topic is something that isn't going to resonate with you, give it a listen, because you end up taking something away. So the I got this mentality, I mean, I think it is going back to kind of that confidence of, even if it's challenging, even if it's hard, even if it's something you've never done, going into it, knowing that, okay, like maybe I'm going to fail. I'm going to learn something from it. Maybe I succeed. Freaking sweet, I succeeded, but I can do this. Like, I can do the hard things. I can choose to do the hard stuff, and I can choose to push myself to be where I want to be. And I know in the one episode where we talked, like where you
were part of it. You were talking back at us, probably.
But in the one episode where you guys talked about kind of setting your intentions for who you want to be and making those active choices. Like, I feel like that episode really resonated with me, especially thinking about that I got this mentality, because that's really hard to make those changes to grow into, maybe shifting a habit or shifting a thought process or whatever that may look like for you. But if you go into it with a sense of confidence of, I can do the hard things, I can make those changes, then it's you will, and it might take time, but you'll get there.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome, Jess. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming. We really do appreciate you.
And we definitely need an update once Darling arrives.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You guys will definitely get an update on when baby arrives. Henry, do you want to come say goodbye?
I want to say hi.
You want to say hi? Okay, buddy. Do you have anything you want to say?
Could we get Henry to say, I got this?
Yeah. Can you say I got it?
Say it loud and proud.
Yell it out.
Really loud.
I got.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at I Got This Pod. See you next week. And remember, I got this.